Yo, Rich, what's up, man? Vasco, those was good. Eric, you already know. You already know what's going down today. It's Clipper Day. That's all we talking about. Clippers, Clippers, Clippers. Epic fail. I need Guido to get in here, man. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I don't know where Jerry and Alberto at, man. Alberto been hiding. You're not gonna hear from Alberto. He hiding. He hiding. He hiding, man. They hiding. They don't want to be nowhere near this. Nowhere near this onslaught that's going on right now. Oh, man. Bro, everybody laughed. Everybody laughed. The entire season from last July. Oh, my God. Kawhi did a power move. It's the best team in the league. Yo, he shunned LeBron. He shunned the Lakers. Now they're going to dethrone the Lakers. They the best team in LA. Cool. Cool. That's fine. I'm just waiting, man. I'm waiting for Guido to get in here. And then we're going to get it started. I don't know where his ass is at. Gotta be on time, bruh. Nah, Jokic came back in phenomenal shape. He was ready. He was ready. Kawhi wasn't ready. I'm hearing rumors that or stuff coming out, reports that they weren't in shape. They didn't want to be in a bubble. Blah blah blah. Nonsense. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. I'm gonna start finding Guido when he's late. I'm gonna start finding him because I don't know why he late. What's up, man? Where he at? Damn, you going that far? Darius Miles? Darius Miles? That's rough, man. That's rough. And listen, I'm not even hearing all the criticism that I need to hear out of Kawhi. I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard it yet. They're still saying, oh, the team collapsed. Team did this. Yo, Kawhi's supposed to be the man. He took down Golden State, right? Like that's what they talking about. That's the narrative. He took down Golden State. He's the best two-way player in the league. He's better than LeBron. What happened last night? 1 for 11 in the second half? 2 points? If this was LeBron, if LeBron had did this, the world would be on fire right now. On fire. On fire. Yo, Steph, chill. Steph, chill, son. Chill, chill, chill. I don't know what's going. I don't know, man. I don't know why they feel like this team was the best team in the league. When you got a dude that tells you beforehand, yo, I'm not gonna play no more than 20, 60 games a season. Oh, he's here. How you doing, Guido? You late? I'm checking my I'm checking my time. I'm checking my time, man. Checking my time. I don't know why. I don't know why every time I come in here you gotta be late. You're supposed to be waiting for me, man.
I'm late.
You're
Wait, wait,
supposed,
wait, wait, wait,
you're
wait,
supposed to
wait,
be waiting for
wait,
me,
wait,
man.
wait, wait, wait.
You're supposed to be
I'm
waiting for
late.
me. Okay?
How many times you start this thing at
It's
5:50?
my show. Okay? You're supposed to be waiting for me. That's the rule.
Yeah, you got me sitting here for 20 minutes on occasion. Jesus, on the reg.
Mike Guido, what's going on, man? All Even Live, episode 7. Now, listen, are we just going to jump right into this? Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to jump right into this? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm wondering why you're still talking. Introduce him. Let's go.
Clippers choke in Game 7. Your thoughts, Mike Guido. Go.
So here's my big thing. And again, I want to make this very, very clear to some people that don't understand.
Yeah.
I want the same energy.
Same.
I want the same energy on Kawhi that we get on LeBron James. That's what I want. The same damn no pass.
No pass.
He gets no pass.
Nope.
Zero.
Guido, just think about it.
And it wasn't like, listen, let me just say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
LeBron, when was the last time we saw LeBron put a performance like that in a playoff game? Right?
Never.
Kawhi, it wasn't like this. So let me just, I'm gonna throw this out there for a second. Okay. This was not one of those instances where, because we get this a lot, especially with LeBron, where LeBron pounds everybody all game, right? He puts up the numbers, and, he's got 30, 15, and 10, but he loses a game anyway because he gets no help, right? People give him crap. Oh, LeBron didn't do enough.
Right.
Kawhi was 6 for 22. He had 14 points. This game is on
1 for 11 in the second half of the game. 1 for 11.
Right. The Clippers in the fourth quarter got their first field goal with about 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. 4 minutes in. I'm not talking 4 minutes in. 4 minutes left. They got their first field goal. 4 minutes left, Barrington Grant Jr. It's unbelievable. This is such a gag job by the Clippers. An absolute gag job.
Everybody. And it's not just Kawhi. The entire organization.
PG was terrible too.
I blame the ball boy. I blame the equipment guy. I blame the assistant coaches. Everybody gets the blame today. Because guess what? Remember when Kawhi pulled the power move, right? He pulled the power move and went to the Clippers. Everybody was saying, oh, the Clippers are now the best team in the NBA. You got the best player that was the MVP. He beat the Golden State Warriors. He didn't want to join LeBron. There was this narrative of he doesn't want to play with LeBron. He's better than LeBron. He wants to challenge LeBron for the crown. He had that commercial, the commercial for New Balance, that he's a new
It's
king
his
of
city
LA.
now, right? It's his city now.
Man, what are we doing right now? And remember, when it happened, Guido, what did I say to you? I said, just wait. They're going to reveal themselves to be exactly who I know they are. There's no way that you as an organization can do what the Clippers did and win. You can't do that. You can't have a player come to you and say, yeah, look, I want you to trade for this guy. I want you to trade your best young player, your best young asset, and I want you to trade off all their draft picks to go get Paul George. The last guy that actually picked up the phone for me, because I called like 5 other guys before this, everybody said no. He's the guy that picked up and said yes. So I need you to trade your entire young staff, all your draft picks, your future for this guy. And on top of that, here's the caveat. I'm only going to play about 55 to 60 games if I feel like it. Maybe I'll push it 65 if I feel like it. An organization would have to be completely desperate to say, you know what, you're right. Let's do that. And bingo, what do we have? The Clippers, the team that's been in the basement for 50 years, right? They've never been to a conference final. They've never been to an NBA final. Why is that? Is it a shock? Because they have organizational dysfunction. Just because they have a new owner now. And listen, did you see him last night? He was so sad. Had his mask on and he was just like pouting. I remember when they signed Kawhi. I remember when they signed Paul George. He was dancing.
Pretty cool.
Let's go. Where was that?
Prevent.
Where was it last
get back.
Where was it last night, Guido? I don't know. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew Waldo George would show himself to me. He's been
Waldo.
showing himself to me all season. He's been showing himself to me his entire career. Why would it change now? I had a friend tell me that last night. He was like, "Oh, before the game, the Clippers are going to win this game. Don't worry about it." I said, "You think they're going to win this game? So who's going to lead them to victory? It's going to be Kawhi or Paul George. Because if you're relying on Waldo, don't do it. Don't do it." And he showed.
It's got to be Kawhi. It's got to be Kawhi.
Yeah. Listen, he had 10 points last night. Remember that game, that closeout game in Oklahoma City where Russ had like 45 and he ended up with like 6? You remember that closeout game when he was with Indiana and they played Miami and he went 5 for 21? That's that guy.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's not the guy that will randomly get you 35 points. No. He's more of the guy that goes 4 for 12 or 4 for 20.
Right.
That's who he is. That's who he is. And then did you see
Right.
he came out and said that, internally our expectations wasn't title or bust. Oh. So
What do you mean it wasn't title or bust? This might be your last year with this team.
Give me a break. Give me a break, bro. Give me a break. I don't want to hear nothing from this team. This was a team. This is the most front-running NBA team I've ever seen in the history of the league. When they're winning, everything is great. When they're winning, they're talking crap. Look what they did today when Dame missed the 2 free throws. You had Patrick Beverly on the side. He's falling off the chair. Where was all that last night? Where was all that last night?
Right. When Jokic and Murray were giving you the business.
Busting their ass. Jamal Murray got 40 on Kawhi. He wasn't getting 40 on nobody else. He got that 40 on Kawhi.
Right.
I can't tell you how happy I am today. Like, I was up until like 2 a.m. just laughing to myself like a madman. Because I'm like, I've been telling people this from day one. I'm not shocked. For the people that are shocked by this, they really haven't been watching Kawhi Leonard. They haven't been watching Doc Rivers. They haven't been watching Paul George. They haven't been watching. Doc Rivers.
Right.
This is a guy who has lost more Game 7s than anybody in the history of basketball. This is the coach that there's no other coach that has done this. He lives in infamy right now. That he is the only coach to blow 3-1 leads and 2 with the same organization. You can't make this up, Mike. So here's my question to you. Now that we know that the Clippers are a joke, right? Now that they've shown themselves to us, right? They are who we thought they were. Channeling my inner David Green, right? What do they do now?
Okay. Well, here's my big thing. So I think you were saying it yesterday, right? Marcus Morris is a free agent. He was a 1-year rental.
Yep.
Montrezl Harrell is a free agent.
Yep.
Ivica Zubac is a free agent. Reggie Jackson's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're losing a bunch of guys, right? And eventually, where's Lou Williams at? Is
Lou Williams has a very, very reasonable contract. I think he's only making like $8 million a year.
All right, so they can keep him around.
They
probably,
can keep him,
yeah. Here's the thing. I have a feeling the Clippers are still going to be fine in the future. I don't think that this is the end of the Clippers. I don't think that they're going to be favored as much as they were this year.
When you say future, Mike, what do you mean by future? Do you mean like next year, or do you mean 5 years from now?
The next 3 or 4 years, for as long as I got Kawhi and PG.
Well, right? that's the problem. Let me enlighten you. Kawhi Leonard can opt out of his contract after next season. Remember, he signed a 2+1. So he has 2 years plus the option year. So are we actually believing that Kawhi Leonard is going to opt into that last year? No. Paul George has an early termination as well. So both of these guys are lined up to be free agents again at the same time.
Right. So here's what I was...
Also, they don't have any draft picks. So when you say future, are you talking about next year? Because they don't have
any young... They don't have any young players.
They don't have a future.
Right? They got Landry Shamet and like Terrence Mann are the only young players they have on their roster. Like that's really it. And they're not future building pieces. Like they're not.
They are right? Role players.
And after you traded draft picks, you traded Gallinari, you traded a really good young player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Who you and I both really like.
Very good.
Like it's just really, really, really good. But like, you're right. I think, like I said, I still think they're going to be okay because I don't think this is this is an enlightenment on what Kawhi is. I think that I still think Kawhi is still a top 5 or so player in the NBA. 100%. I don't think that's, you know what I mean? So I think as long as they have Kawhi, if it's only for next year too, I think they should probably go into next year as a relative favorite, maybe a top 5 or top 7 team in the NBA next year or something like that. But
I agree.
Here's the thing. I want to pose this question to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I heard this get brought up. I think Cowherd said it, but I'm not certain it was. I think it was Cowherd.
Okay.
But going into this season, Kawhi had 3 options, right? Kawhi was choosing between 3 teams. He was choosing between the Clippers, which he ultimately took. He was choosing between going back to the Raptors, which, again, would have paired him with Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse and Kyle Lowry and Siakam and basically bringing the band back together, maybe trying to defend their title.
Right.
And going to the Lakers and joining LeBron and Anthony Davis and probably dominating the entire NBA. But here's the question that was brought up is, if you look at LeBron AD with the Lakers, if Kawhi had joined them, I mean, that's a title. Like you can't say that that's not it would Guaranteed. Be the best team in the NBA Guaranteed. By far. It wouldn't even be close.
Guaranteed.
Right? If he goes back to the Raptors, maybe it isn't a title automatically.
They get back to the finals.
But they might run it back, right? Like they might run it back, get another shot. They get Masai Ujiri and Nick Nurse, who is an incredible coach GM combination, like a really good structural organization. The Clippers just might have been do you think the Clippers was just he made a bad choice?
Yeah,
he made the wrong decision.
But you know what it was? It's more about pride, right? What Kawhi fell into is that he wanted to be LeBron. We've been hearing for the last, I'd say 2 years, right? 2.5 years that Kawhi was getting a little tired of the whole San Antonio way. He did not like the way, Popovich was very stringent. He was the alpha male in that organization. And Kawhi felt like he couldn't be himself. So he ended up orchestrating this particular scheme to get out of there, right? Whatever. He got out of there. It worked out for him. Cool. But then he ended up winning a championship in that particular run. Now, that was unheard of. Everybody thought that when he went to Toronto,
everybody was high on Kawhi at that point.
Yeah, they were gonna be a good team, but nobody really picked Toronto to win a championship. That run that they had in the playoffs was really impressive. So
it was all Boston. It was all Boston last year,
right?
Too.
Boston was a favorite. Boston was a favorite, or the Sixers. Sixers or Boston, I particularly thought they were my favorites. So now he wins the title. He wins the finals MVP. Now he feels like he's the king of basketball. Now instead of him being just humble about it, he allows his uncle to start to dictate his lane, right? Because you were hearing rumors about his uncle was asking for outlandish stuff from these teams. Yeah. I'm sure he was asking for outlandish stuff from sponsors and from whoever. And we saw Kawhi take this like mastermind type of role, right? Where he's supposed to be meeting with the Lakers and Genie. And then he delays the meeting because he's on the phone with Paul George. He's on the phone with this person trying to orchestrate deals behind the table. And we're like, this is Kawhi Leonard. This is the guy that's always been Mr. Team Basketball. Never talks, but yet he's this quiet mastermind behind the scenes. So this is why, to me, I can't ease up on the guy because he created this mess for himself. Now he has to sit in it. Now, whatever criticism comes from that, he deserves it. Because at the end of the day, what I saw from Kawhi last night, it wasn't just a bad game. It was more of fatigue. His body was breaking down. I said to my friend while watching the game, Mike, I said, yo, Kawhi looks like he's running in quicksand. He looked slow. He had no lift. He was looking to the rest for foul calls. Everybody talks about how LeBron is always, trying to cater to the rest. He's always trying to get the rest on his side. I saw a lot of complaining last night from Kawhi Leonard because he knew that he didn't have it. He knew from the opening whistle he didn't have it. And he was trying his best to sway the game foul-wise, and the rest weren't having it. Because I think the refs saw it too. I think the refs were like, yeah, you ain't got it tonight, bro. You ain't got it tonight.
Well, you saw the report, right?
Huh?
You saw the report, right? Like a lot of Clippers players.
Yeah.
They were having trouble running stretches of more than 3 minutes just because they were tired.
Like, what are we doing here? So now.
When was the last time LeBron got tired?
Right. Here's the deeper question, Mike. Here's the deeper question. As an organization, head coach, assistant coaches, who's running the asylum? You got the players running the asylum. So if they don't want to practice, they're not practicing. If Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to play 75 games, you as the head coach is just going to allow him to do whatever he wants. So you have to sit in this bed. You can't come back next season and expect to try to discipline these guys now. You let them run the asylum for a whole year. What does Doc Rivers do now? You're gonna dial it back now and say, hey, listen, I need you to be here for at least 72 games. I need you to be at practice. I need you to be engaging. He hasn't played 72 games in like 4 years. He's never played a full season, Mike. Never.
No, never. You're right. He never has.
So what I saw from this team, I saw a team that had lacked chemistry. I saw a team that lacked trust. I saw a team that no longer trusted the head coach for what adjustments or lack thereof that he made, because he didn't make any adjustments last night. He just went with them, and they looked terrible. Had he tried to switch it up and shake things up and get guys off the bench, maybe they would have probably won that game, or it would have been a different outcome. But he stuck with the guys that had no interest in playing that game 7.
Right.
They all looked like they wanted to go home.
Yeah, no, exactly. Somebody in the comment section brought up a really good point. Kyle Lowry played 50-plus minutes the other day. The Clippers can't say anything. What do you think? Honestly, that's the thing, though. But that's the kind of stuff that you get out of what the Raptors have built.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand that, we're all going to rip on Pascal Siakam because Siakam played really poorly.
I am not even going to rip him, Mike. I'm not even going to rip him. You know why? I'm going to give him some slack because he's a young guy. He's a young guy.
But you know what it is? They're not cocky, and they play with heart. I hate to sound I hate to sound cliche and use these terms like playing with heart and doing all but that's what the Raptors do. And the Clippers, and this has been my point on the Clippers forever, for pretty much the entire season. Right. Paul George missed the first month of the season. Right. He missed the first month of the year. Kawhi plays 3 out of every 5 games every week. Right. The guy takes off every other game. Mm-hmm. So how do you expect to develop chemistry that way? And honestly, when they knew, honestly, the public, the sports public did this to them. Right.
Yeah, of course.
They got all cocky. They were saying, Kawhi and Paul George with that team. They're going to mull over everybody in the West.
Defenders in league history.
Right, exactly. LeBron's done. They had literally – the public spoiled the Clippers. So the spoils went into the season thinking that they were hot stuff. And they were like, we got Marcus now. We got Marcus Morris. And we got Harrell and Lou Williams coming off the bench. They don't even start for all. I'm like, yeah, right. Reggie Jackson, we got 10 deep that could start on any other team. I'm like, dude, you guys never play together. You guys never play together. And again, this is the kind of thing that happens when you don't have team chemistry and
Yep.
you get cocky like this.
Yep.
Is it gets to your head.
Yep.
It gets to your head.
They believe the hype.
And it results in poor performance. That's just the reality of the situation.
Bro, I've been
gas their heads up. I like that term. Gas their heads up.
I've been calling this from day one, Mike. I don't know if you remember me saying this, that they remind me of an IS-8 team. They remind me of like a rec AAU team that's just been put together. A whole bunch of players that are coming from different places, and they've never played together, and they just say, all right, here's the basketball, figure it out.
Right.
That's how
for one night, they can look like the best thing on earth.
Exactly. But
for a sustained period of time, they can't survive.
Good. Talent will win you games in the regular season. Why? Because nobody's game planning. They're going from game to game to game. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
They're trying to get through the regular season. Once the playoffs start, you really see what happens. Because remember I told you this, when you don't have trust, when you haven't developed chemistry in a basketball team, and say you're up 15, you're up 20, everything's great. You're up 20. Everybody's happy. Everybody's cheering. But once the game gets tight, if it's a one-possession game, you start to look around. Who's getting the ball? Oh, I haven't touched the ball in 3 possessions, so I'm not going to play hard on defense. Or maybe I don't call out this screen because I'm mad. The lack of trust starts to weigh in. People start turning the ball over. You start complaining about plays that were like 5 or 6 plays before that. That's the Clippers.
Right.
That's the Clippers.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why, yes, I see it here, basement. They belong in the basement. They will never get out of the basement, Mike. They will never get out of the basement. Ever. Ever. They will always be the basement LA team. I don't even know a Clippers fan. I've never seen one. Do they exist?
No. Marcellus Wiley is the only one that I know.
Who listens to that dude? I don't know who listens to him, but if you waste an hour of your life watching that program, I don't know what you're doing. Waste an hour watching this program. Don't waste an hour watching that program, because I have no idea what games he watches. There's people out there that are so critical of LeBron James. But if you notice, Kawhi's getting killed today, but he's not getting killed the way I need to see him get killed. You're still hearing, oh, the team didn't play well. Skip Bayless said that Lou Williams is the closer of the Clippers. So your best player is not closing your game. I see. Your second best player is not the closer of your team. I see. The third best player is the closer of your team. Like, what are we talking about here? So he gets all the spoils when they win. He gets celebrated. Oh, he's a 2-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. But when he loses, it's because the team didn't play well. Okay.
Right. Right. I just, to me, it's just, I don't even know what to really say other than, like I said, I want to hear the same energy on Kawhi that we have on LeBron. Right? I want to hear the same thing. Because I'll be honest with you. This is something that got brought up to me yesterday with a good buddy of mine who I think is completely off base with almost everything that he says. I do want to say this. I do not think that Speak for Yourself on FS1 is a terrible program. I actually think it's a relatively decent show.
When he talks about basketball, I don't listen.
Wiley's a Clippers fan. What do you expect? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, Kawhi losing in the second round, right? Because this, and I don't think it should be viewed this way, but it is, so I'll play along, right? Because I don't think it's Kawhi lost in the second round. I think the Clippers lost in the second round.
100%. Everybody did.
But again, I'll play along. So if Kawhi loses, right? When was the last time that LeBron, just entertain me for a sec, Barrington Grant Jr., when was the last time that LeBron got bounced in the second round? When was the last time that happened? Do you remember?
I don't I don't remember him getting bounced in the second round at all. I think it might have been early in his career, maybe 05?
Yeah, probably
06?
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere, his third year or something like
Yeah, he
that.
was like,
Because
about
oh 07 he
20,
made it to the finals. Oh seven he
22
made it to the
years
finals.
old or something like that. Like, yeah, I mean,
Then he made it to the
I
conference
can't
finals
quote.
every year after that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then he made it to the finals from 2011 all the way to essentially last year.
yeah,
So, and I think that LeBron is going to make it to the finals again this year because I think the
yeah,
Lakers are going to beat the Nuggets.
yeah.
But, I find this so interesting because Kawhi is, and you brought this up. Kawhi is the big closer, right? We heard not too long ago that Kawhi was closer to Michael Jordan than LeBron
Yes,
was. Like
yes,
he was the great closer. He
yes.
was the dog. He was even though he didn't talk, he was the dog. He'd get you there and everything like that. Oh, well, what happened? And again, I do want to bring this up. I want to make sure people hear this. Okay, really hear this. It is not like Kawhi played great last night and the rest of his team played like garbage. It is not one of those scenarios. Kawhi was minus 21 in real plus minus last night, right? 6 for 22, 2 for 7 from 3, 14 points, 6 assists, and 6 boards. That was Kawhi last night. In Game 7, in the most important game of the season for them so far, that was his performance.
Ugh.
That was his performance. If LeBron could drop 40, 10, and 10, if he loses, it's his fault.
Listen,
How is that the same thing?
I heard an argument
But we'll
today
give Kawhi a pass today.
I heard an argument today, Mike, that people were still talking about LeBron's choke job against the Mavs in 2011. They're still talking about it. So they're comparing what Kawhi did to, I said, here's the difference. Here's the difference. LeBron might be 3-6 in the NBA Finals, but guess what? I'd rather lose in the NBA Finals than get bounced in the second round and have a 3-1 lead. And here's the bad part about blowing that 3-1 lead. Game 4, excuse me, what was it? Game 5. Game 5, they had a double-digit lead. They had a 16-point lead. Game 6, they had a 19-point lead. Game 7, they led at halftime. I think they were up. The most they were up, I think, was like 12. So in 3 straight games, they had double-digit leads on this Nuggets team, and this Nuggets team didn't panic. They just said, yeah, we're fine. We know that we can be able to come back on this team because here's the thing. This whole defensive, prowess that they have, that the Clippers are the best defensive team we've seen. They're so deep. They got a bunch of dogs. They give up more points than anybody in the playoffs right now.
Right.
Where's the defensive team? Where's that defensive team that I keep hearing about? Where is it? This is my whole thing. Like, people created this narrative about this team that didn't exist. It's like they made this thing up, and now the Clippers had to live up to it.
Well, that's the thing too, is that we came up with these narratives about the Clippers, right? Like you said, that didn't exist over the course of the regular season, right?
Yeah.
We gave them like, oh, the Clippers, they are such a great defensive team. Over the regular season, the Clippers were not an amazing defensive team. They were They were very middle of the road. Right. Statistically, the Clippers were very middle of the road defensively. However, the best defensive team in the league all year was their neighbor, the Lakers, right? Yeah. They were the best defensive team in the league, and it wasn't close. They were shutting teams down defensively. But I agree with you on this. But here's the point I do want to bring up. Because as much as Kawhi, I guess, should get killed today in modern basketball culture, which I think is flawed, but again, I'll play along. I don't think that this is it for Kawhi. Like, I don't think that this loss defines Kawhi for the rest of his career. I think Kawhi has time to redeem himself. Absolutely. Maybe the tune on Kawhi can change. I'm not saying anything like that. But, like, don't you think that, and again, I guess we're doing a lot of comparisons to LeBron, right? But, after LeBron lost the finals in 2011, right? After he lost the finals in 2011, people wrote the book on him. That was it. That LeBron could never redeem himself after that. Doesn't matter how many finals he won. Doesn't matter how many championships he made it to. It doesn't matter. The book was written on LeBron, no matter what.
Right.
Okay. I still think that Kawhi can prove everybody wrong. Like, I think Kawhi could go out there, win a championship or two, and lose this thing on his back. I absolutely think that. Kawhi could still go down as an all-time great. I'm not eliminating that possibility. But, again, I think this speaks to what we have to change, right? I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he legitimately said to me, he said it is better to not make it to the finals than to go to the finals and lose. I'm like, here's the thing that I don't understand, right? You know the term, better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is such a true statement in life,
Yeah.
right? The fact that if you can feel true love in your life, you can feel true love in your life, it is so fulfilling. Even when it's over, you look back and you can appreciate it, right? But if you never experience it, you're getting robbed of that experience.
Right.
I think it's pretty simple, right? LeBron's gone to the finals so many. I mean, yeah, he's lost in a bunch of NBA finals against, again, I can make the argument more often than not against teams that were better than his.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. The Warriors teams were way better. But I don't think that LeBron at any point in his career has had a loss as bad as the one that Kawhi suffered last night.
Nope.
So,
and this is the problem. Like, I'm gonna go on the other side of it. I honestly am worried about Kawhi Leonard, and here's why I say that. Kawhi Leonard is 28 years old. Kawhi Leonard is already looking like he has arthritic knees. When you turn 30, you don't get better in regards to health physically. You actually
no, this is Kawhi's prime. He's 28. This is Kawhi's prime.
28 years old. You're right there in your prime, and his body is breaking down. He's basically telling you, I can't play these many games because I'm not going to be any good to you when it comes to the playoffs. What do you think you're going to have when he's 30 years old, when he's 31 years old, when he's 32 years old?
Here's the problem, too, Barry, and I think this needs to get addressed, too.
Yeah.
That the Clippers were saying they were tired, right? Kawhi looked slow last night.
Mm-hmm.
Every team had, 3 or 4 months off?
Months off.
I mean, like,
Jokic came back.
They had an off-season. They had an off-season's worth of rest, and you're tired?
Yeah. Jokic came back in phenomenal shape. And
Jokic dominated last night.
And dominated. James Harden came back in phenomenal shape. All of these, so it just, like I said, the Clippers, I've never seen a team that I dislike more than the Clippers. In my time watching basketball, I've disliked this team more than any other team. And I'm talking about me being a Lakers fan my entire life. I hated the Kings. I hated the Spurs. I hated all of these particular teams. I hated the Suns. But this particular team just rubbed me the wrong way because as a basketball player, they disrespected every particular process that made the game whole.
Oh, yeah.
You don't try hard. You think that you can be able to just turn a switch on because you guys are that talented. You don't care about chemistry. You don't care about, giving the regular season any credit. We can take off whatever games we want to. It's all right. We'll be able to get into the playoffs. It doesn't matter what seed we are. We can be able to get where we want to get to. That is so disrespectful to the sport. And when you have a coach like Doc Rivers, who was supposed to be a disciplinarian, this is what he was built on, defense, being gritty. How could you allow this particular team to do this? And this is why I feel that they have so many internal issues that we're not really seeing that they're going to have to try to hash out. And I don't think that they're going to do it because, one, you're stuck with Paul George. You're stuck with Waldo George. After this, nobody wants him. He is damaged goods. Nobody wants this guy. You couldn't give Paul George away right now. That's one.
You couldn't.
Two, are you willing to give Montrezl Harrell the bag for what? What are you giving him the bag for?
Montrezl Harrell was their leading scorer last night.
He's a good player. He's a very good player, but he's 6'6", 6'7". They're going to have the same problems with him in the playoffs next season because teams already understand that the best way to beat the Clippers is to be big and to dominate them downstairs. That's all you have to do because they do not have the personnel. I can see them getting rid of Zubac and trying to get somebody on the cheap. Maybe they try to get a young guy and get a rim protector, but they have so many problems that it's not an easy fix, man. It's not an easy fix.
Right.
So I am on the other side of it in regards to saying that I don't think that Kawhi Leonard is going to be able to redeem himself how he wants to because Golden State's coming back. You have a whole bunch of other teams coming up in the West. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be very good. The Denver Nuggets are staying. They're not going anywhere. You have a lot of teams coming for that crown. Even if the Lakers fall back, say they win the title this year, and then they don't compete for the championship next, something happens, and they end up not being one of the top tier teams. I'm still not putting the Clippers ahead of them. I'm not putting the Clippers ahead of Houston, and I hate Houston. So they have so many problems, and it starts with Doc Rivers. They may have to get rid of him after next season. They're tied to him for next season. But after that, it may be a complete wash. Leonard will leave. George will leave. They will get rid of Doc Rivers and completely wipe the slate clean. That's what I see happening because I don't see this team winning a championship next year. They're not better than Boston. They're not going to be better than the Miami Heat. They're not even better than Milwaukee. They're not better than Toronto.
Yeah. It really reminds me of the Lakers when the Lakers brought in Steve Nash and Dwight Howard the same year, and that was supposed to be the super team and all of that stuff.
No chemistry.
No chemistry in the West.
There was no chemistry. They just couldn't get going. I mean, Dwight Howard was coming off the back surgery. He wasn't healthy. Steve Nash couldn't stay healthy.
Kobe needed the ball.
And Kobe needed the ball. Right. Kobe needed the ball. So it's like, even when you saw their half-court sets, their half-court set was, okay, well, we're going to put everybody on the perimeter and just give Kawhi the ball and go one-on-one. How long did you think that was going to last? I've been telling you that at some point, Kawhi Leonard is going to wear down. I saw that Dallas series. I'm like, yo, he's averaging 30, 11, 5 assists. He had to do that for them to win. There was no way he was going to be able to keep that up in another round. And even if they would have won that game last night, Mike, could you honestly have seen the Clippers continue to play well against the Lakers? Another round? No.
If they were struggling against Jokic, they would have really struggled against Anthony Davis.
Oh my goodness. They have so many problems that I just don't see. I don't see a silver lining for these Clippers. I really don't.
It might not be.
And they have no future. They have no future. Zero. But I'm happy about it because it's the Clippers. It's the Clippers.
I think a lot of America is happy.
It's the Clippers. Like, no, whoever thought that the Clippers would do anything? It's the Clippers.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I don't know why people like to change narratives about certain people. It's like the Jets or, my beloved Mets. At some point, we're going to reveal ourselves to you. We are who we are. The Clippers are who they are. So moving on. Dallas Cowboys. Dallas loses this game 20-17. Your thoughts?
I mean, I really was going to leave this in the past, but I only cried a little, but it's here's the real thing. This is my huge takeaway, and I was basically screaming this at you after they lost. I would not pay Dak Prescott if he saved mine and my fiance's life. I wouldn't do it. Okay, he could donate he could give me a kidney, and I wouldn't give him $40 million. I wouldn't give him $40 million. Like, here's the thing about the Cowboys that I can't stand. Okay, and as much as I love them,
Yeah.
we've given. Okay, so we hired a new coach who, by any means necessary, is not bad.
No.
Mike McCarthy, if anything, he might not be a great coach.
He's really good.
He's definitely a good coach.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Mike McCarthy is not a bad coach, period. No. That's one. Two, great offensive line. Banged up a little bit, but nonetheless a great offensive line. Right? That's what I would call it. Connor Williams, a solid left guard. Tyron Smith's one of the best left tackles in football. Zach Martin's one of the best guards in football. Yeah. When Lyle Collins is healthy, he's one of the best right tackles in football. Like, they have a great offensive line. They have the best group of receivers in the NFL. Right? Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb is the best group of wide receivers in the NFL. You have Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, who is the second or third, I would probably say the second best running back in the league. Right? Dak's out of excuses, man. Like, I don't want to see a game where Dak can't put up points because the surrounding pieces are all there. And we've replaced everything for Dak. Okay? And again, people say, oh, Dak didn't even play that bad. Did you not watch? Dak couldn't Dak's numbers at the end of the day were not brutal. They weren't terrible. But if you watch the course of the game, I don't know if you noticed this.
Oh, no, I noticed.
The ball was coming out. The ball was crawling out of his hand.
Yeah.
Crawling out of his hand. He had no zip on his fastball.
Mike,
he had no zip on his fastball.
He was 10 for 21 in the second half of the game.
That's what with that group of receivers.
For 10 for 21 for 75 yards. We were leading.
And people say I shouldn't put it on Dak Prescott. I am absolutely putting this game on Dak Prescott.
100%. 100%. How can you not? How can you not? How can you not? And this is my problem. It's like, it's always the tale of two Daks. He can have a first half where he can have 200 yards. He can be dynamic and look great. And then the second half, he ends up tailing off. I don't understand why it happens. It has to be a mental block for this guy. But if it's a mental block, how the hell can you pay him $40+ million going forward? How?
Against the Rams defense that wasn't that's not amazing. Outside of Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, I mean, and those two guys are fantastic, but they have no depth on that defense. The Rams have no depth on that roster. The Cowboys should have walked into Los Angeles and beaten the Rams by 10. I mean, it blows me away. Now, I do want to say this. The offensive scheme looked a little vanilla, right? It wasn't outrageously creative, right? You looked at what the Rams were doing offensively, and Sean McVay has always been that. He's always been that really good creative mind, that trickster, like that. That's who Sean McVay is. So that's why the Rams offense looks, relatively dynamic.
Yeah.
But again, the Cowboys have so much talent around Dak Prescott. And they just, and it was so, the plays that Dak needed to make, right? Dak made that one big throw at the end of the game that got called back, right? That was a good throw. Michael Gallup had Jalen Ramsey beat. But listen, as upset as I was about that call, that's not what costed the Cowboys the game.
No.
The Cowboys had so many opportunities to win that football game and put them in a position to win that football game.
Right.
That one call, I always say this, if you are relying on a call to go your way at the end of the game for you to win, you didn't play well enough.
You didn't play, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
You didn't play well enough. Okay,
exactly.
The Cowboys should have been up 27-20 by the time that play happened.
100%.
Okay? They can't be this team and this is the really upsetting part about this, is Dak is going to get paid. It's going to pain me to see it. but Dak is going to get paid. I would let him walk, and I would take a chance on some kid. I would take a chance on that kid from North Dakota State before I paid Dak $40 million. Because if Dak can't win with a roster that's this good, you think he's going to win with a roster that's not even close to this good because you can't afford to pay anybody? Like I'm not in. I'm not in. I'd let him walk today.
I am with you. All right. I wanted to talk about that for a little bit. But let's preview. I think there's somebody in here. There's somebody in here I'd like to highlight. Where is he? Where's A-Fresh? Is he in here? Is this the guy? This is the biggest Kawhi Leonard fan I've ever seen in my life. There's two guys that I've never heard any negative things about Kawhi Leonard. My friend Alberto and Max Kellerman. Those are two people that doesn't matter what he does, it's never wrong. So I need to know what happened.
He slid in quietly.
I need to know what happened. I was waiting for him last night. So we have a group chat. He wasn't there last night. He didn't show his face. He didn't show his face this morning. So now he slides into this live. I'm not letting you go, bro. What happened to Kawhi Leonard last night? I just want to know. What happened to the Clippers last night? And I'll be waiting for your response. Me and Guido will be waiting for your response. What happened to your man? If LeBron James would have had that type of game, what would you have done to me all day long? So I need to hear it.
His one blunder.
One blunder.
That's what it is now. It's his one blunder. Oh man! Imagine if LeBron had one blunder.
Mike, you want to know who I compared this to? There's one person.
Jason Terry.
There's one person in the Game 7 that I compare this to. Remember John Starks in the NBA Finals 1994?
Okay.
That's what Kawhi did. He had that type of game. He had that type of game. So he is in rare company. John Starks, Kawhi Leonard. They're both neck and neck. I don't know who sucks more. I don't know who sucks more. You cannot be the king of LA if you have a performance like that. Maybe for the Clipper fans, I mean, they've never had a good player like this, only Elgin Baylor in their history. So maybe this guy doing this, maybe him holding this franchise ransom and hostage, maybe they like that. Maybe they love to be abused by a guy who doesn't care about basketball. He doesn't care to play 80 games. He wants to play 50. Then
they're the Spinner franchise.
Then he's gonna tell his coach, hey, I was a little tired in Game 7. Okay, Donovan McNabb, you're tired? You're tired in a big game? What are we doing here?
Playoffs.
Man, listen.
Playoffs.
I just don't know. I don't know what people see in the Clippers. I don't know. I've heard. So now we're gonna hear the narrative, Mike. We're gonna hear the Nuggets are gonna beat the Lakers now. So for 3 straight rounds, the Portland Trailblazers were the best 8th seed in NBA history. They're not an 8th seed. Then we heard in the second round, Houston, they got those 2 boys. It's gonna be hard to stop. How are you gonna contain those 2 guys? What's the narrative now? Oh, well, the Nuggets are the first team in NBA history to come back from back-to-back 3-1 deficits.
Yep.
They have Jamal Murray. They have the Joker. Nobody can guard Joker. Let's put this into context. The Lakers played the Denver Nuggets 4 times this season. You want to know what the Lakers' record against the Nuggets was this season, Mike?
Inform me.
They won 3 games to the Nuggets 1. So, this is regular season now. We're talking about playoff Lakers. Playoffs? Do you honestly believe that the Nuggets have a chance in hell to upset the Lakers?
No. I think the Nuggets are The Nuggets are a good story and they're a good basketball team, but they don't. No.
How many games
No,
does it go?
I don't.
Let's take a bet right now.
I think the Nuggets will probably sneak 2 on the Lakers. I
So
think that could
6?
happen.
6?
Yeah, I'll say 6. I'll give it 6.
I have a gentleman's sweep. Gentleman's sweep.
I think. You really think so? So 5?
Yeah, gentleman's sweep. 5.
All right. I mean, well, listen. It wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers lost game 1 because I think the Nuggets are rolling right now.
Yeah.
Right. I think they're rolling right now, but I would say 5 or 6. I would say 6, but I wouldn't hate that.
Do you still have the Celtics?
A-Fresh just said Kawhi is king. Yes, he's king of going 6 for 22 and scoring 14 points in Game 7 of last night.
Yeah,
A-Fresh,
I agree. He's definitely king. He's king of Cancun. He's king of vacation. He is king. He is king of cardio.
Let's see if he can beat Damian. Let's see if Damian Lillard beats him on the golf course.
He is king of cardio. What he needs to do, he needs to conquer that station. Everybody. He needs to.
Oh my God! He's the king of arthritic knees.
He needs to put that defensive prowess on that stationary bike and get some cardio. That's what he needs to do. He needs to put some hits on those knees. Kawhi Leonard has a lot of issues, man. I feel bad for him now. I really feel bad for him, man. But look at this. Look at the bright side. Kawhi, you could have been fine. You could have took off 80 games if you wanted to and just played in the playoffs. All you had to do was sign with the Lakers. You could have took a back seat. You could have had all the time in the world to recover. We wouldn't need you to do much. But when we call your number, you perform. You would have had
you and LeBron. Kawhi and LeBron could have never played on the same night.
Oh my goodness! Like they could have just alternated days. That's all they had to do.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
That's got me weak. That's funny as hell, man. Be quiet.
Wow.
All right, we got Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, Barry. Who do you got?
I can't call it.
Between the Bengals and the Browns?
I don't want to call it. It's a terrible game. It's a terrible game.
It's not a terrible game. I think that's going to be a good game.
Baker Mayfield is the worst quarterback in football.
Wow. Really?
I'm putting him below Trubisky right now. You saw what Trubisky did on Sunday? I am putting Baker Mayfield lower than that. So if you want me to pick one, I got the Bengals winning 27-17.
27-17 Bengals. What's the line on that game?
I don't know. Who's home?
I don't know. I gotta look.
Yeah, check it because if the Bengals are home, they're probably gonna give them the 3.5 just because they're home.
Bengals, Browns. Let's see.
Why is Sam Darnold
it
worse?
is in Cleveland. It is in Cleveland.
Okay, so it's in Cleveland. So Cleveland has a 3.5, right? They're giving Cleveland a 3.5.
It looks like it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I listen. I don't see what's. Listen, I don't know what's wrong with the Browns. They are a mess. They are a mess, and it starts with Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. I think what you're seeing out of him now, he looks a little gunshot. He looks a little gunshot. He came out and said, "Oh, I can't force feed the ball. I can't force feed the ball to OBJ because it has to be organic. It has to be within the flow of the offense." No. What needs to be in the flow of the offense is that you need to deliver the football to your receivers. They're open, but you're not finding them. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's going to continue. I don't care what bad teams they play. Baker will never look good. I just don't have any confidence in that kid. But Joe Burrow is pretty good. He's pretty good.
I liked what I saw from Joe Burrow week 1.
He
looked poised. I'll say that. He looked really comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, and for that,
that's not a good O-line.
Right. For that dumpster fire organization to have that good of a quarterback, I feel bad for him. Hopefully they can be able to turn it around. But we got 5 seconds, Mike. So say your piece.
See ya.
Deuces, boy.